this is Allie with the Perception Trainers, author of The Perception Diet, and today I have part 2 for Are You Doing Happiness Wrong? So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you go back and watch part 1 first. And basically in part 1, I just talked about the first time I ever actually experienced true happiness, which was when I was in the middle of a really kind of terrible experience in my DTS in New Zealand, and I realized that happiness was my choice, and that that I could allow myself to feel happiness and contentment and okayness with what was, even though what wasn't what I wanted it to be at all. And so in this video, I kind of just want to go a little bit more in depth into why I believe we are a society that is chasing happiness, and in a lot of ways we are actually cutting ourselves off from allowing ourselves to actually experience happiness based on how we think we need to go about finding happiness, okay? So like I say, our society is very much set up for, like, you know, the pursuit of happiness. That is kind of like what everything was designed around, especially in the Western world. Not necessarily everywhere in the world, but especially in the United States and in Canada, and maybe a little bit even in Europe. Like, I think definitely things are not the same in Europe as they are in the States and Canada, but there's still this underlying expectation that, you know, if you can just get your life to be exactly right, you will be able to be happy. That if you can just, you know, get enough money, or get the right wife, or get the right job, or get the right house, or get the right career, or get the right social circle, if you can just be perceived correctly, if you can get the right social circle, all this stuff, that eventually you will be happy, that you will find happiness. And then the kind of ironic thing that happens here, or maybe it's not ironic, but the kind of funny thing that happens here is that even when, and you know, we've kind of heard this story 100 million times, even when people get there, right? They get to that place where they have the perfect job, they have all the money, they have all the success, they have all the friends, they have the lovers, they have whatever it is that they thought that they needed, they have the success or the fame or the fortune or whatever it is that they thought that they were going to need to be happy. And they come out and say, you know what, I'm still not happy. I'm still lonely. I'm still, you know, unsatisfied. There are still things in my life that I'm not okay with. And I just wanted to kind of, you know, suggest that maybe happiness isn't what we think it is, and maybe there is another way of going about getting happiness that will actually serve us more, right? And then one other example that I want to give is that, you know, sometimes we have these things where we feel like we're so unhappy for so long, and we do all this work, and we do all this maybe like personal development or spiritual development, or we change our thoughts, we change our actions, we change our lifestyle, we change our values, we go after different things, whatever, we get to a place where we actually do start to feel happy. And then what do? We freak out about what's going to happen when it all goes away, right? So even when we are happy and we get the things and they do make us happy, then we're scared for what happens when those things go away. Like, even, like, I can give an example, like, I always thought that my perfect body would make me happy, but then I started to kind of think, well, what if I actually get it, and then I'm just like spending the whole rest of my life, you know, freaking out trying to maintain it, because if it goes away, then I can't be happy, right? And then, so that's not even real happiness either. It's just like a constant, you know, once I got the thing that I wanted, I either realized that it didn't make me happy, or now I become obsessed with maintaining it because I can't be happy if I don't have it. And so this is basically the point of this video series, is that I just want to suggest that perhaps, like, really not in a cliche way, because this is the cliche. People say things don't make you happy, stuff doesn't make you happy, blah, 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 blah. So I'm just wanting to propose that it's not that stuff doesn't make you happy, and it's not that stuff does make you happy, and it's not that circumstances make you upset or they make you happy. It's all what you're choosing to perceive, and it's all what you're choosing to allow yourself to feel, okay? So, and I think that here we can get a little bit clouded too, because I guess that I believe that in the world there's no like kind of black and white truth. There's no like statement that I can make about anything that is like how it is all the time for everyone, period, right? Because this world is nuanced and it's gray and it's very, it's, like I say, it's nuanced. There's lots of complexity to this. And so it is so with happiness, right? That it's not that things can't make you happy. It's not that they can. It's not that it's completely in your mind. It's not that it's totally not out, like it's totally outside of you. It's a kind of an amalgamation of all of these things, right? So I believe, number one, true happiness comes from allowing yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling in the moment. Like, I believe that we really do ourselves a disservice and make our lives so much harder when we're constantly telling ourselves that how things are is not how they should be, and how things should be is not how they are, right? We drive ourselves nuts with this constant idea that whatever is happening shouldn't be happening, right? And I think that if we could just allow ourselves to say, okay, if I'm feeling sad right now, I'm sad. If I'm feeling lonely right now, I'm lonely. If I'm feeling angry right now, I'm angry. If I'm feeling dissatisfied right now, I'm dissatisfied. And that's not wrong, and that's not bad, and that doesn't mean that I can't be happy or I won't be happy or that happiness is impossible or that I'm always going to feel this way. It just means this is what is right now, okay? And then from there, looking in and saying, okay, is this whatever it is that I'm feeling that is not happiness? Is this coming from an external situation that I actually can change? Because sometimes that is the case, right? Sometimes it really is not that you're supposed to just like hunker down and pretend that you don't feel what you feel in the situation that you're in. That's not necessarily how it is, right? There are sometimes, like for instance, like I've had instances in my life where I tried to make myself really happy in a job, or I tried to make myself happy in a relationship, and it was just never gonna happen, right? That dissatisfaction was actually coming up to push me to do something different, okay? So sometimes that is the case. Sometimes it is, don't stay here. You're unhappy and you're unsatisfied because this isn't the right thing, okay? Other times, you might go in and you say, okay, I'm really unhappy about this. And the reason I'm unhappy is because of the story I'm telling myself about this situation, right? So then I've equally had times in my life where I was so unsatisfied and so unhappy and trying so hard to change my external circumstance because I thought once I get all this stuff sorted out, I'll be happy. And I realized, no, it's just what I'm telling myself. It's this huge story I'm telling myself about what this means and why it's not supposed to be this way and how I can only be happy here and therefore I can't be happy here, right? So sometimes it was like, no, whoa, relax, be here, right? And there are definitely times in our lives where we know the difference between these two kinds of situations, right? We know the difference between a situation that's making us unhappy and there's something we can do about it to improve our situation, and this is like a sign of self-respect, and this is a sign of personal growth, and this is a sign of self-love, right? Where we remove ourselves from toxic situations, or we create an environment that's more suited to our happiness. And then on the other side, there are equally amount of times where it's just, you know what? No, this is what is right now. And I need to learn how to allow myself to be happy and to be comfortable with what is, right? And I need to just allow myself to be here in this moment. And how can I find the joy in this? How can I find the love in this? How can I find the peace in this? How can I find the growth in this, right? So this was kind of like my New Zealand experience, where it wasn't about escaping what was happening to me. It wasn't even about changing anything that was happening to me. It was about changing my mindset, and it was about taking my power back and taking my freedom back and saying, look, I can be okay here, right? This isn't perfect, but it's all right. It's not forever. And I can find the pieces of gold in this, right? The nuggets that are here for me. And it actually helped set me free in a lot of ways for the future, where I was in uncomfortable situations that I couldn't do anything about, and where I could allow myself to be happy and to be comfortable and to be okay when things weren't how I wanted them to be. And that's, I think, true freedom, right? So that number one thing is just, again, like really going in and really looking and saying, okay, this is what it is, taking an honest stock of where you're at and just saying, okay, this is how I feel, this is what should be happening, number one. Number two, can I do something about it? Or is this something where I need to figure out how to be okay in this, right? And then number three is realizing that, again, at the end of the day, happiness is never going to be something that is stable from the outside, right? it's always going to come down to you deciding for yourself, okay, is this something where, you deciding for yourself that you want to live a happy life, right? And then making the choices that need to happen in every situation that allow for you to have that happiness, right? Which is sometimes saying, okay, this is what is. How can I find the joy in this? Or sometimes it's saying, okay, this is not what I want, and there's something I can do about it, and I gotta step outside my comfort zone in order to push myself past this, or to create something new for myself, or to value myself a little bit more and to say, look, I deserve something better than this, and I can create it. I don't have to just put up with this shitty situation, right? And it's that introspection, that self-introspection, that self-knowledge that we're constantly collecting and learning from and growing into that allows us to understand, okay, is this a thing where I'm blocking my own happiness? Or is this a thing where, I'm blocking my own happiness by forcing myself to stay here, or I'm blocking my own happiness by what I'm thinking about this, right? And so I just really want to just suggest that the bottom line message of what I'm trying to say here is that everything in your life, absolutely everything that you've ever experienced and everything that you are experiencing now and that you will ever experience is actually something that is designed to lead you into the biggest and most deep and most profound happiness that is possible for you, okay? So this might mean it's something that's coming up to challenge your own beliefs about yourself and your own value and what you have been putting up with so far, that you can say, okay, I'm not going to put up with that anymore. I'm going to respect myself, I'm going to value myself, I'm going to stand up for myself, I'm going to do something for myself that I need to do to change my situation so that I can be happy, right? And sometimes it's saying, look, I have been allowing myself to chase happiness off in the future, off in this idealistic thing that's going to happen, and telling myself that I can't be happy until that happens, and telling myself that there are these tiny little parameters where I can be happy and anything outside of that I can't be. Well, that's kind of like guaranteeing that you're not going to be happy, right? Like when we have such specific parameters that say, I can only be happy when this is happening, right? And then when anything happens in my life that's outside of my control that makes it so these little things aren't happening, I can't be happy. Well, that's not true, right? So then that's starting to use your mental powers to say, look, how can I allow myself to release and relax my resistance to what's happening so that I can find some joy in this moment, so I can find some happiness in this moment, so that it's not all about the circumstance, right? So it's not about the circumstance, but it's not completely about the circumstance. And that's why I think that this true spirituality, this true journey is not so cut and dry. It's not one or the other, it's both. And it's about you going in and deciding for yourself what it is that you need to do in this moment, right? So for me, I'm still learning, right? I'm still at the place where I'm constantly discerning, okay, is this something that needs to change on the outside that I can do something about to make my life kind of more in alignment with who I am as a person, right? And honoring and respecting the individual that I am? Or is this something where I just say, look, no, this is how it is, and this is what is, and there's really nothing I can do about it externally to change it. So how can I make myself happy within it? How can I find the blessing within it? How can I learn to say everything that shows up for me is a blessing? And rather than resisting it and running away from it and saying, I can only be happy when it changes, saying, no, this is a new opportunity for me to find peace in a new way, for me to find happiness in a new way. And then I will say, like, this kind of thinking makes it so that you can go on like a 24-hour plane journey somewhere and not get totally wigged out, right? Like, this is what enables me to travel all the time and like have very little things and like live this kind of crazy lifestyle, because I can get myself to be comfortable on a plane for 12 hours, right? I can allow myself to just be there, and yeah, maybe I'm squished in and my legs are falling asleep and my eyes are super dry and I'm tired and I want to sleep and I want to lay down and I can't do any of those things. But I can just be okay with it, right? I can just learn to be okay with it. I can stand in line and have things be delayed and and I can be okay. And this is the true gift in this, right? When you learn to start to take power back over your own happiness, when you're saying it's not circumstance, it's me that needs to change. Always, it's me that needs to adjust to what is. It's not what is that needs to adjust to me. That we find that we can be in a place of happiness regardless of what's going on. And then again, I can be sad, and it's not like I've think that's it, that I'm going to be sad forever, and so then I'm resisting my sadness or I'm wallowing in it. It's like I just allow myself to be sad, knowing that it's just a part of life, right? It's not the be all end all. I can be angry and it's just a part of life. I can be upset about whatever and it's a part of life, but it's not impeding on my happiness, because my happiness is the constant, right? So that's my spiel on happiness. It's not about finding the perfect situation. It's about going in and saying, what do I need to do for myself, right? Where's my power here? How is life blessing me? And it's not that life needs to adjust to me. It's that I need to adjust to life. And does that mean that I need to, do something for myself? Or does that mean I need to change my mind, right? So there's my spiel on happiness. It's not on the outside. It's not on the inside. It's not either place. It's both, right? So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them down below. I love hearing from you. If you have any video requests, I'd love to hear that. You can find me on Facebook at Perception Trainers. Find me on Instagram, Ali_Perception Trainers. And I'll see you in the next video.